It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from New Bristol Brewery, and this is a can of their Bristol Kolsch. New Bristol Brewery have this wonderful ape that is doing wonderful things in space. This time he's standing in a white room, really, with his helmet off in his spacesuit. Some of the new Bristol beers that have these kind of space-themed man ape in space are just terrific. They're really good. I really like it. It sets off an imagination with me. This is a Bristol Kolsch. It's a German-style pale ale at 5.5% ABV, 440 milliliter can. This was handed to me. Some of you might have watched it when I filmed the breweries and bars and craft beer bars of Bristol on the channel. I went to New Bristol Brewery. They handed me a beer to drink, which I was really pleased. It was so hot that day, and I did, in the end, my iPhone told me I did 17 miles. I walked 17 miles that day. I was completely knackered when I got in. But New Bristol, a lot of you commented on the video. I remember a lot of you talking about it, saying how wonderful these guys seemed to be. They were absolutely fantastic. First thing they did, they handed me a cold beer. I opened it, sipped it, beautiful. That gave me a little bit of energy. That gave me a little bit of kind of a push to keep going. And then they handed me a couple of beers to review, and this being one of them, the Bristol Kolsch. Yeah, lovely. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but I want to talk about the beer first. But they were lovely people, they really were. One finger white head. It's a straw-ish coloured beer. We got a little bit of haze going on in there. A German Kolsch. I mean, for summertime, for this, well, we're at the dying embers of summer now. It's August the 30th. So, is it 31 days in August or 30 days in August? I don't know if it's going to be September, maybe in the next 2 days. So we're definitely entering into autumn, and you can feel it. Sun's slightly lower in the sky, but it's still warm. It's still warm, and that's the point of me saying all of that. We're still in this kind of lager territory, this cold, crisp, refreshing lager territory. So the beer's kept its head as I've been waffling away, talking away. It's kept its head rather well for the last couple of minutes, which is a good indication with the beer. A little bit of carbonation, straw coloured, a little bit of haze. Let's get the aroma. Yeah, it smells good. It smells a little bit like lemon meringue pie, this one. It's got that kind of pastry, grainy aroma to it. Like on the top of a lemon meringue pie. On the top of a crusty pie then. It's got that nice kind of slight light biscuity aromas. And then lemons and maybe a little bit of lime coming through. It smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh. Tastes good too. Not only are they really friendly people, but they produce really good beer. That's really important to me. It's really important to a lot of people as well. It's almost got an Oktoberfest feel to it. It's that slightly elevated, I mean, it's 5.5% ABV. It's that slightly elevated lager feel that you get with an Oktoberfest beer. Lots of German beers, 4-5% ABV, really good tasting lagers in Germany have a certain kind of very refreshing feel to them. But when the Oktoberfest beer comes out, September time, around about now, you get, pardon me, it's bad, I need to burp. They're more elevated, they're more bold, there's a little bit more of a mouthfeel coming through, there's a little bit more of a creamy richness coming through, and you get a little tiny kind of kick of alcohol coming through with that extra malt build. It's a little bit more grainy, it's a little bit more, it has a little bit more body to it, and certainly a little touch of alcohol. I'm picking this up really. It's nice and hoppy. It's definitely hoppy on the back end, which we'll get to in a moment, but it definitely has that Oktoberfest feel to it. But it's a Kolsch, it's a Kolsch. So talking about the hops then, first of all, you get a little bit of sweetness from the malt that just kind of just packs itself over there. And then the bitterness comes through from the hops. And it's a lovely balance. But I'm getting a candied, like a slight Belgian candied fruit flavour to this beer. And then it's a touch of grapefruit, a touch of lemon, touch of lime. And then really crispy and refreshing with a spicy, peppery finish on the back end. It's a terrific example of a Kolsch. I can just imagine sitting in a beer garden in Bristol enjoying this. So whilst I was on my travels in Bristol, I come across the Bristol dock area. And I think if I lived in Bristol, I think I would drink in the docks area. I think I would drink in that harbour side. Sun beating down, nice fresh breeze coming over you, a nice look at... So they've developed the harbour side in Bristol where there's lots of bars, there's lots of shops, there's a big Ferris wheel. You're not too far from the water. Just a nice... It's got a really nice open air feel to it, Bristol docks. But I can just imagine sitting there in a bar enjoying one of these new Bristol Kolsches in the sunshine. So what's next from New Bristol? What would I like to see next from New Bristol? Well, the beer's terrific. I would like to see, because their beer's definitely good enough for them to do this, I think a lot of people would want to buy their beer, is I think that they should maybe buy a pub in Bristol. Maybe they already have, or maybe if they can get on that dock side, if they can get on that kind of Bristol harbour side, that dock side, and have a place where, you know, you're going to go and get a burger and maybe some chicken, and then they got the full range of the cans on the bar, they got some keg lines going on. I think it would be really popular in Bristol, especially with their branding, especially with that ape in a suit, a space suit sort of vibe going on. I think it's really cool. Really, really cool. Right, let's talk about what they're saying on the side of the can then. The taste is clean and crisp, and the hops are Saaz. This Kolsch style lager utilises the best German malts, German hops and German yeast to produce a clean, crisp beer with malty sweetness balanced against a moorish bitterness. It is balanced, it really is balanced, it really is lovely. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this brewery. I'm a big fan of their beers. They were really lovely to me when I turned up. I didn't tell them I was coming. I just rocked up at their brewery. As I did, I rocked up to many breweries in Bristol that day. If you haven't seen the video, have a look. Rocked up to a load of bars as well. It was a long day. It was like a 12-hour day I did. But for me, New Bristol, they stood out. They stood out not just for me, they stood out, of course they stood out for me being very, very lovely people, but you guys seen it as well. You guys seen it, and you guys commented on the YouTube video. If you haven't seen it yet, look for the comments of the video. So many people saying how friendly kind of New Bristol were to me. But of course, we have to be honest, we have to rate the beer accordingly. There's no point in me giving this beer extra marks because they were lovely people. I'm going to be honest. But I think it's a lovely example of a Kolsch lager, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Little Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.